Hello everyone and welcome to a new video. Because the end of the year is coming up, I like to not only start to think about the books that I'm going to be reading next year, but also some of the goals that I want to achieve when it comes to reading. So one of those goals is to read a lot more classics. So this year I took it upon myself to read a classic a month, and I began that sort of challenge about mid-year. So I think I read about 6-7 classics this year, and I'm going to be making a video about that in the future. But today I really want to focus on the books that I'm going to be reading next year for the Classics Challenge 2020, which was created by Lucy at Lucy the Reader. So I have a list of some of the classics that I really want to get to. I'm going to be making two parts to this video. The first one will be this one, which will be focusing on classics that are written in English, and then I am going to be making one about classics written in Spanish. And yeah, that's something that I really want to incorporate more next year. A lot more literature written in Spanish. So I'm gonna be going through my list of books. Some of them I know what they are about, some of them I don't. But yeah, let's get started. I think that one of the first on my list has to be Emma by Jane Austen. I want to also finish just basically all of her works. She also has novellas and short stories, which I also want to get to. And yeah, Jane Austen has been one of my favorite classic authors, and I read most of her works this year, and what can I say? It was amazing. And Jane Austen was one of the authors that really just jump-started my love for classics. So I have been spacing them out because I don't want to finish them and have nothing left to read. So yeah, I'm going to be reading Emma pretty soon, and I'm really excited to get to it. So in this book we follow the life of Emma Woodhouse, and she is pretty young. I think that she is one of the youngest Jane Austen characters throughout all of her novels, and she basically likes to play matchmaker to a lot of the people around her and her city, and this may kind of cause some problems, not only to her, but yeah, just it sounds amazing. That's all I know pretty much about this book, and I like going into Jane Austen not knowing that much about the story that I'm going to read. I am a little hesitant because everyone has said that Emma is the most annoying of all Jane Austen characters. I don't think so. I was pretty annoyed by Fanny Price in Mansfield Park. I could not stand her, so we'll see. I'm really excited. I really just want to watch the adaptation, if I'm honest. So yeah, and there is a new adaptation coming up. I will put the link to the trailer down in the description so you can check that out. So yeah, Emma is going to be one of the books that I'm going to be reading next year. The next book that I really want to get to, or rather the next author, is Anne Bronte. This year I read two of the Bronte sisters' work. I read Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte, and I read Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. Both of them I enjoyed. I really want to make a sort of video about Wuthering Heights because I had a really interesting experience with this book, but we're not going to talk about it here. But I enjoyed them both. So the next sister that I have to read is Anne Bronte, and I think she's the most underrated of the three sisters, so I'm really excited to just get to see what she has to offer. I'm really excited. So I believe she has two novels. Don't quote me on that, but the first one is Agnes Gray, and then the other one is The Tenant of Winfield Hall. And yeah, I think that I'm going to start with Agnes Gray. So Agnes Gray is basically the story of a young girl trying to be a governess, and as we all well know, Anne Bronte was a governess herself. So she draws a lot from her experience, pretty much like Jane Eyre or Charlotte Bronte does in Jane Eyre, because Charlotte Bronte was a governess as well. So I'm really excited to see just what the story is about. And I know that this sounds bad, but I really like to compare their writing styles and see what things are similar and what things are not. So I'm really excited to get to that one. So the next book that I really want to get to is The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath. I have not read anything by Sylvia Plath before, but I think that, like Emily Bronte, she's very interesting because she has a collection of poetry, and I believe she's well known for her poetry, but I really want to see her novel first. And I think, don't quote me on that this story was inspired by Sylvia Plath's own experience in New York. I think she was in an internship, so she had a really hard time in that internship and she drew inspiration to write this book. Don't quote me on that. I think I heard that in a video. Don't remember which one, but I wanted to read to you the synopsis here on Goodreads so that you can get a better idea as to what the book is about. Esther Greenwood is brilliant, beautiful, enormously talented and successful, but slowly going under, maybe for the last time. In her acclaimed and enduring masterwork, Sylvia Plath brilliantly draws the reader into Esther's breakdown with such intensity that her insanity becomes palpably real. A deep penetration into the darkest and most harrowing corners of the human psyche, The Bell Jar is an extraordinary accomplishment and a haunting American classic. So yeah, love it, really looking forward to it. And I don't know, there's something about reading new authors that really just captivates me, because I really don't, it's kind of a mystery and you don't know if you're gonna like it, if you're gonna like the writing style. So really excited to get to this one. Another author that I really want to get to this coming year is Thomas Hardy, and I think that what really draws me into Thomas Hardy, not only the fact that he has many book to movie adaptations that I really want to see, but also because he is known for drawing a lot of inspiration from nature and writing nature beautifully, and I love when authors do that. I like not only dwelling in nature, but kind of exploring that connection between humans and the natural world. And I think that Thomas Hardy is one of those authors that will really just exploit that. I have heard that he is a very tragic sort of author, so his stories are not the happiest. So yeah, I really just want to read his works and see what all the fuss is about. I apologize for all of the ruckus that is going on outside, but the next book that I really want to get to is Beloved by Toni Morrison. Toni Morrison passed away this year, and I think that her passing away really kind of put her on the spotlight. Toni Morrison is a very well-known American author, and I really want to read her work because I think that it's important, and I think that this particular book, Beloved, deals with a lot of topics of race and slavery, and I don't read that much of it, particularly, I admit, because it's really hard for me to, but I think it's necessary. So I'm gonna read the description of Beloved so that you guys can know what this book is about. Seeth, I'm not sure if that's how it's pronounced, but Seeth was born a slave and escaped to Ohio, but 18 years later, she is still not free. She has too many memories of Sweet Home, the beautiful farm where so many hideous things happened. Her new home is haunted by the ghost of her baby, who died nameless and whose tombstone is engraved with a single word, Beloved. Filled with bitter poetry and suspense as taut as rope, Beloved is a towering achievement by Nobel Prize laureate Toni Morrison. So yeah, as you can see, I think that this will be a very difficult read, but also a wonderful one. I mean, it's Toni Morrison. I have not read anything by her, but I just know that this book will just be amazing. I have about 3 more books left. So the next one is Anne of Green Gables by Ellen Montgomery. I think that this is the only book or the only children's classic that I have on my list. I don't read children's classics that much. However, this book is very well known and there's many adaptations, and I really just want to be part of the fan base of Anne of Green Gables. And I believe that this story just follows Anne, who was adopted, and it just follows her life. And there are many books. It's not only Anne of Green Gables, but you get to follow her as she grows up. So I'm really excited to get to those books, and I don't know, just have a little, I guess, even though it's a book that I have never read, I feel like these books always bring a sort of nostalgia, and I love feeling that. So yeah, definitely gonna read this next year. Another book that I consider a classic, I know that many people don't, is the Lord of the Rings trilogy. So I read The Hobbit this year and I loved it so much. So yeah, I'm gonna continue on with the series, but this is the first book, which is The Fellowship of the Ring, and I cannot recommend these enough. I just know that this will be great. I love The Hobbit, and people keep saying that The Lord of the Rings is just a lot better. So I cannot even, I'm so excited to read this. I'm just waiting for the audiobook to find the audiobook. I know that, I think I'm gonna put the name of the narrator somewhere in the description or in the video, but I think that these books, if you find them a bit intimidating, I know that I did, the audiobooks just helped so much, and this narrator really made all the difference for me and made the experience just so much fun. So I really do recommend it if you're having a hard time. And I do recommend in general that if you have a really hard time with classics, audiobooks are just a great way to get past them, because I feel like sometimes classics are, especially I have found with Jane Austen and Victorian literature, they have a lot of really long sentences, and sometimes you kind of get lost and you kind of get, I don't know, just mixed up in the vocabulary and stuff like that. So audiobooks really help with that. So if you really just are a bit intimidated by classics, I think the audiobooks are a great way to start. And finally, another author that I really want to get to on 2020 is Virginia Woolf. I mentioned Virginia Woolf in my fall and winter TBR. I guess I still could read these this year if I have enough time, but I don't think that I will. So I have 2 of these. I have To the Lighthouse and I have Mrs. Dalloway. I think that both are one of many of her well-known stories and books. So I really want to get to these. These are not that big, and yeah, again, I'm just trying to find a really good audiobook for them. So if you have any idea of any author but narrator that will make these books just amazing and very quick to get through, then please let me know. I think that that's my trick. Like I said before, I really like to read classics with audiobooks because it just makes the whole experience just so much better. So if you have any audiobooks that you can recommend about Virginia Woolf, please let me know. And yeah, please let me know in the comments below and I will be sure to check them out. So yeah, really quickly, because this video is turning out to be extremely long, some other authors that I really want to get to is Charles Dickens, Margaret Atwood, Agatha Christie, and many other just authors that are out there. Again, I didn't want to make a huge sort of list about classics that I want to read because it just kind of it makes it harder for me to. So yeah, I guess that will be all for now, and just thank you guys for watching. This I think will be a really long video, and yeah, be sure to let me know what other classics are you going to be reading this year, and if you want to buddy read any of them, I am down for buddy reads. So yeah, let me know in the comments and I will see you guys with the next video. Bye!